What's up everybody, my name is Brendan and this is BigBearB Creative. Welcome back everybody to another Friday landscape photography how-to video. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've done any photography editing or anything like that on this channel, so today we're going to kind of combine the how-to and our normal, or not normal, but as often as I can do, Sunday photo editing video. So we're going to do a how-to about photo editing, and specifically, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, that it's about light rays and how you should properly do it so that you're not overdoing it and making things look a little amateurish and kind of just affect the whole overall look of your photograph, kind of take away from what the actual focus is or what you're taking a shot of, and making it to where it looks more like you're just taking a photo of some light rays. So today we're going to jump on over my computer. I'm going to show you how you at least get the best possible results, and it all has to do with masking. So now that we're over here to my computer, as you can tell, this is the photo that we're going to be using today. It probably, well, if you've been around for a while, it probably looks familiar. This was from, I want to say last spring. Not this spring, but I think the spring before. Might have been this spring. I'm not sure, but it's been at least a few months since this has been on the channel. And it's like I said, if you've been around for a while, you've seen this because we've actually edited this photo on here before. And as you can tell, I already have all my basic editing done over here, but it's not the exact same photo. It's one of the hundreds that I took just trying to get some water splashing. But so this is the one that we're gonna be editing today, and I'm basically, like I said, I'm just gonna be showing you how you use those light rays to get some more dynamic lighting, but in a proper, correct manner so that it doesn't look amateurish, it doesn't look gaudy, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna go up here, click on plus, and add a new adjustment layer. And I just want to do it on an adjustment layer so that way it's easier to kind of take off and put back on quickly so you can see the big difference. So like I said, or not like I said, but I'm using Luminar 3. Like I said, if you've been around for a while, then you will know that that's what I use. Then I have a whole video on specifically why I use Luminar 3 versus things like the Adobe suite, so Photoshop, Lightroom, all that stuff. But so basically, in this photo, the sun, right now the fake sun is right here, but the sun was actually over here, so this is the direction that the light rays would be coming in. So I'm going to move the sun, the fake sun, to actually be over in that area to make sure it actually lines up correctly. And let's scoot this over again to the corner. And as you can see, we have some light rays that are coming through, but it's lighting up a little bit more than obviously what should be lit up. They're showing up where things shouldn't have light. So like in here, it'll show through when I kind of drag out the length to make it fill the whole frame. It's going to be, again, it's going to be a little pop in the middle, where again, we're going to mess with that a little bit later when we get into the actual masks. Just because the whole purpose of when you do add light rays is you want to make it look natural. Which is a lot of times what happens when people do add light rays is that it doesn't look natural, it doesn't look real. And I'm going to show you how you get that effect using those masks. But first I'm just going to set up the actual light rays just so we can draw that down a little bit. Just so that it's not going to take longer in loading while we actually do the mask part. That looks pretty good to me. The sun is obviously out here. It's casting light down over here. And now the main thing when you're using any sort of sun rays, light rays, whatever it is you want to call it, or whatever photo editor you're using calls it. Luminar 3, they say sun rays, or light rays. But you are going to want to use a mask, and you're going to want to start with a luminosity mask. It's very important. And it'll take a minute to actually load the luminosity mask, so while it's doing that, I'm going to explain to you why I chose and why I say to use a luminosity mask. So basically with a luminosity mask, it's going to naturally, artificially, I guess, AI. The AI is going to do the masking for you for your base, what I call your base mask. So it's going to make sure it's hitting all the highlights more effectively with a higher opacity, and then in the shadows it's not going to be as harsh or as high of an opacity, so you're not going to see it as much. So now that it's all done, we'll jump in, and if you want to check out what the luminosity mask did, you're going to want to go into your brush mask. And then once that's opened up, you just click the eyeball and it'll actually show you. So you see a lot of things here are red. Now when we click that off, these rocks here still look really bright. So what you're always are going to want to do whenever you're using any sort of luminosity mask is you're going to want to go in and you're going to want to edit it to make sure that you're getting the most natural or correct look. So like I said, these rocks are a little bit too much. So I'm just going to go in with the erase. I'm going to have it at a lower opacity just because I want to not have it be so vivid between the where I'm erasing it and where it already is. So basically I'm feathering it out, if that makes sense. I'm just going to click and drag till I get the red to go down, because the darker or more vibrant the red, the harsher the effect is on that area. So now that we've gone through and we've erased some of that, we could go back here and see that the rocks are more closer to what they originally were. We're still having some rays popping over them. And you're going to get a lot more rays out here because that's where a lot of the highlights are coming from. But you see, you're not seeing them down here in the shadows where they were before we had the luminosity mask, when I had stretched out the length. So that's what you want to do when you're working with a luminosity mask, when you're working with sun rays, light rays, is to make sure that it looks natural. You have it in the light areas, not in the shadows. Because if naturally there isn't any light in an area, which is where you get the shadows, you're not going to have sun rays there. Otherwise that area would be lit up more. So you're going to have it more in the highlights, not as much in the shadows. And again, you always are going to go through and mess with your mask. If you use the erase to erase, like right here's still a little bright. You could also go in and paint more of the mask. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to add any more of the mask, but you can very much do that. And then also, if for some reason it went in more in the shadows or whatnot, you would just click on this mask dropper and then invert it. So I'll click on that to show you what it looks like. And as you can see, it's not showing up in the highlights, but it's showing up more in the shadows. It's not what we want. It doesn't look natural here. So go ahead and invert it back. Click on the eye droplet, or not eye drop, but the eye button again. And it's still kept where you had already erased it. So if you just wanted to look to see what it was like. But that's how you do that. So I'll show you here by clicking off on the eye icon of the adjustment layer that we put on. So that's what it was before. Good photo, but you know, there wasn't a whole lot of dynamic light happening. So let's say I wanted to add this for the sun rays to just create a little bit more of that effect. Let it load in, and you can tell it changes a little bit of the lighting around it. It creates a little bit more of some dynamic coloring, especially here with the splash, because we can tell when it's off, it's a little bit brighter on this side, but you kind of lose some of the dimension of the actual water droplets. You turn it on, it's going to create a little bit more of a contrast kind of in between them, again creating more of a dynamic lighting, which is something we're always looking for in photography. And as photographers, we've all been to that point where we've been out on location, we have that, you know, quote unquote perfect composition set up, but the light never really hits. But of course we're not going to leave empty-handed, so we still take that shot. But there's a couple different ways that you could actually go into basically save that photo. And a lot of times that's going to be these sun rays or dodging and burning. And what you saw me do here with the whole painting and basically erasing, masking, all that kind of stuff, is I'm going to kind of be creating my own dodging and burning effect. So when I'm erasing, I'm going to be making things darker. When I'm painting back in the sun rays, it's going to make them brighter. So that way I'm getting more of that dodging and burning effect. So I'm actually creating both of those while simultaneously just doing one. So it makes your workflow a lot easier. So that's how you add light rays, sun rays correctly. You're going to mask them in using a luminosity mask and a brush mask. Because using these combinations, like I said, is going to give you that whole adding the sun rays as well as dodging and burning to really create some more dynamic light in your photos. Of course, it's always best to just have the light in the first place when you're taking the photos, but like I said, sometimes for us landscape photographers that doesn't happen. So this is a great option that you can do just to go in, create a little bit more dynamic light, create a little bit more of a inspiring, I guess you could say, photograph versus a more flat photograph that you're kind of like, okay, that's a cool location, but like it's not epic or anything. So this is just a nice way to kind of go in and add it correctly. And I also talked about this in this week's blog. If you guys didn't know, I do also release blogs every week. They're typically released on Thursday, and by typically I mean they're released every Thursday, sometimes around noon, sometimes a little after. It just kind of depends on how busy my week is. So you guys can check that out at BigBearBCreative.com/blog. It's a landscape photography blog. It's always the same theme as whatever the Friday video is, so it's also about how to do this correctly. I go a little bit more in depth onto why you have to do these kind of things and whatnot, but this video is strictly to kind of show you briefly how you could do it using Luminar 3, Photoshop, Lightroom. They're going to give you the same options. No, that's probably the most popular photo editor, and then you get the Luminar 3 and I think a couple other ones as well. But for me, I love using Luminar 3. If you guys are looking for a different photo editor to give a shot, I'm pretty sure I always have these linked down below, so make sure you check that out in the description. Also, make sure you're checking out a couple other links, 2 of them. BigBearBCreative.com/eco apparel. That's where you can find shirts like this. It's my favorite one. I'm trying to do it to where I don't mess up my audio. Yeah, this one is my favorite. It's the Aztec Nature design. I have a bunch of other ones you guys could check out as well. They're all printed on eco-conscious apparel, so if you guys like being eco-conscious, that's a great way to grow your wardrobe, but also being eco-friendly. And then the second one I want you guys to check out is BigBearBCreative.com/prints, where you can find all my photo landscape photography prints. Things like this are going to be available. A bunch of waterfalls, mountains, all that kind of stuff. I think I might even have 1 or 2 wildlife ones in there. You're going to have to check it out to see. Yeah, so make sure you guys are checking those out. And if you like this video, if you learned something, one, make sure you're bear pawing that like button down below. It really helps me know that you guys are enjoying these and to keep making more for these. And if you like this whole kind of tutorial I gave you on how you could use these sun rays, or if there's some other ways you guys like to use them, you gotta just let me know down in the comment section below. We just love to have a little chat down there and talk about how we each like to edit our photos and all that kind of stuff that didn't really make any sense. Yeah, also, if you guys do like these things, like I said, I make these videos every Friday as often as I can. I also have Sunday photo editing videos strictly for photo editing. This one, again, was kind of a combination of both, but if you guys like these kind of videos, make sure you're subscribing, and I'm going to try to do some more, I guess, landscape photography travel vlogs. I don't know exactly how to call it, but when I actually go out, I'll take you guys with me, show you how I take the photos, and then we'll probably do like that Sunday after. I'll show you how I edited that photo. So if you guys are looking forward to that, like I said, make sure you're subscribing, comment down below, and all that stuff, and make sure you check out those links. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys have a great day. Be safe during this time, and go be creative.